Hey y'all, Susan with Susan's Country Living. Welcome to my kitchen. Happy the day after Thanksgiving, I guess happy Black Friday. Already done my shopping online and we'll be picking it up curbside this evening after the crowds have gone. But today we're going to be making some turkey bone broth. So you got that leftover turkey carcass and I've just broken it down and put it here in this bag. And we're going to be using the Instant Pot slow cooker. You can do it on top of the stove, however you want to do it. And I've got some things that are going to go in this. You've got some celery, because you probably have celery left over from Thanksgiving. Some carrots. Probably have some green onions left over. I'm going to use those. A couple of cloves of garlic. Had like a half an onion left over. And then I'll be adding some black peppercorns, some salt, and I usually throw in a bay leaf. So we're going to go ahead and get this in the Instant Pot to cover. And there is still some meat on these bones. But what I'm looking for is this soft, it's like a cartilage kind of on there. That's where your good collagen and nutrients are in these bones, and this is just going to melt away because I'm going to cook it for such a long time. Now I could pull all this meat off if I wanted to and make turkey salad or something like that. And if I see some big pieces like that, I'll pull those off. It's probably what we'll have for lunch is turkey salad sandwiches. And so I'm not going to put those in here, but you see things like this, that's just going to melt away, and that's got all those great nutrients and gut soothing properties in there. Whenever you have an upset stomach, also a good thing to put in there is the wing tips. Lots of collagen and nutrients in there, so I saved the wing tips. So what I'll end up doing is canning this bone broth. In fact, the bone broth that I used for my gravy was last year's canned turkey bone broth, because you usually have to wait for the turkey to finish cooking to use the drippings. I do add that, but I like to cook my giblets and all those things in the bone broth, and then we just add it to my dressing, and we get all of those minerals from the bones and the collagen. This is the back here, and I'm just kind of picking off some of the meat that's on there, but this is a very large bone here. It's got the pelvis area there. Just pulling off some of that turkey. So if you break this down, you'll be able to get it into your crock pot. I think this is like a wing. It's got a lot of the skin on it, a little bit of meat. Also, if you don't want to do bone broth, something I've done before, and some people may think it's gross, but I'll take the carcass out to my chickens and they will pick it clean. They love the meat, and they'll pick at the bones. I have where the breast was attached here. There's just lots of this. It's kind of meaty, but it's going to add a lot of flavor there. When I carve my turkey, I take the breast off whole and then lay it and cut it across the grain, and I just like that presentation, and you get more meat off when you do that for your table, for your meal at the table. So I'm pulling, there's quite a bit of skin off. And see, there's already very gelatinous. So after I make my bone broth, I let it cool and I put it in quart jars or half-gallon jars. and I let it cool in the fridge so I can get the fat off. Because when I can my turkey broth, I don't want a lot of fat in it. Because during the year, if we get sick, we pop open some different bone broths that we have. Or if you have a sore in your mouth, or you have to have dental work and you're not able to eat solid food, there's a lot of nutrition in the bone broth so that you don't suffer while you're not able to eat. Ribs are right there, and take the sternum, and there's some really good stuff right there that it's going to melt down. So I've got room in mine, I believe. And then we're gonna add the onion. And my carrots. Some garlic. And you could use the celery stalk. I like to use the leaves because there's a lot of flavor in those leaves. Like sometimes I will chop these up and add a little water and freeze them in ice cube trays, and then store them in a bag in the freezer. And when I don't have celery, but I need the celery flavor, I'll just pull those out. I'm going to cut these green onions here, and I did have a little part of a stalk. This just imparts a different onion flavor. There goes my vacuum. We'll wash my hands. You can add a little bit of apple cider vinegar to help speed up the process of extracting all the minerals and the collagen from the bones. And I may do that here this morning. Because usually I'll do this usually takes a couple of days. And I check it and I see if those bones, when some of them you can just take them and crush them in your hand when they get to that point. And I usually put, what's about probably maybe half a tablespoon of black peppercorns. Just kind of eyeball it. And a bay leaf or two. Just depends on if you like that flavor. And then, like, there's small ones, you can always put a couple in there if they're small, little bitty ones here. I find it cheaper to order in bulk, and I just keep them. These keep for a long time. Keep them in jars. Then I'm going to add some kosher salt. You can use, Redmond real salt. I also use that. But this is what I have out right now from my Thanksgiving cooking. And there's a tablespoon. Probably going to add a couple. You don't have to add salt if you're on a low salt diet. Some water. And I'll be adding some more water in a little bit. I use reverse osmosis, and my tank needs to be replaced. So it takes me a while to get some water, but I'm going to go ahead and get this started. And I'm just going to use it as a slow cooker. I'm going to set it on 12 hours, so I'll check it tonight before I go to bed, see how it's doing, and add time if I need to. And I'm just going to cook it on the regular slow cook and increase to 12 hours and let it go from there, and we'll see what it looks like when we're finished. All right, so it's been 24 hours here on our turkey bones, and we're going to take a look and see if it's done. So I'm going to do here. You can see that just breaks off right like that. So those bones have been broken down. Let's see if I can find another one here. There's that sternum, and you can just take it and it just crumbles. And then the bones that had the cartilage and the ligaments, they're all gone. And then I can just scrape the end of that and it just comes off my fingers. So I would say that this is done. So what I do is I scoop everything out, and this will go to the chickens because those bones are nice and soft, and the ends of the bones they'll be able to peck at, and they'll eat any meat and skin and vegetables that's left. So I just let this drain really well. You know, you buy a rotisserie chicken at the store. You could take that carcass and make some broth. Pork, beef, lamb, I try to get as much out of the broth as I can. And then I'm gonna take it off out of the Instant Pot and set it on the stove to let it cool, and then I will strain this through a fine metal strainer, and then put it in, I have some half-gallon wide mouth jars, put it in the fridge, and then once the fat has solidified on top, we'll take that fat off, and then I'll be able to either freeze, or I'm going to can up my my broth. I use a pressure canner and follow the guide in the Ball canning book on canning broth, and have shelf stable turkey broth whenever I need it. So hope you try this out. Hope y'all have a great holiday season. Bye, y'all.